I already knew how it would end for him. That last morning his hand was so steady on the sword, now the quiet breaks. Seol-Hwi stood outside the door while the Earth Demon and the Lord of the White Dream Hall stayed inside the room. After a long time, the Lord came out. Seol-Hwi, was it? Yes. There was killing intent in his eyes. Seol-Hwi was worried that he would try something, but that fear disappeared as soon as the Earth Demon stepped out as well. You. I have a feeling I'll be seeing you again. He roughly brushed past Seol-Hwi on his way out. Seol-Hwi glanced after him. Don't worry too much. The Earth Demon smiled at Seol-Hwi. As long as I'm here, they won't touch you. Thank you. Seol-Hwi breathed a sigh of relief. He felt assured, for real this time. He had forgotten for a moment what kind of person the Earth Demon was. Now it was presented to him irrefutably. Even though Seol-Hwi killed the Lord's men, the Earth Demon sent the Lord away without a fight. Seol-Hwi didn't know if it was just because the Earth Demon was the Heavenly Demon's disciple, or he had struck a deal. But whatever it was, Seol-Hwi was safe under his wing. It was a bit overwhelming. Anyway, you did good this time, take this. The Earth Demon pulled the sword off his waist and offered it to Seol-Hwi. Ah, this was no ordinary sword. There was a dragon engraved on the sheath, which surely would have cost a huge amount of money to get done. How amazing would the rest of the sword be? Not much different, surely. As soon as Seol-Hwi grabbed the hilt, a status window appeared. You have obtained the Sword of Reverence, a divine weapon. As expected, it was no simple tool. It looked like a sword worth bragging about, even from a cursory glance. Sword of Reverence, one of the swords used by the ancients' priests when praying. This sword was reserved for the finest people. 70% increase in destructive power during normal attacks. 50% increase in destructive power during martial attacks. 50% increase in destructive power during martial arts techniques. 30% increase in destructive power when using 4 peaks demonic martial arts. Increased combat mode, turn-based, AI, simulation switches. Soul-chasing chi, sealed curse, this was huge. It increased Seol-Hwi's attack power in all fields, his combat power, and the amount of times he could change the combat mode, plus an unknown ability. This was practically a straight upgrade to his performance. If Hong had escaped the White Blood's encirclement with the herb, he would have rewarded you for your help. You deserve this. The Earth Demon's face didn't betray a hint of regret, despite giving away a sword famously associated with the disciples of the Heavenly Demon. He stared at Seol-Hwi for a moment and then patted him on the shoulders. I have high expectations for you, he said. I will live up to your expectations. The Earth Demon walked away with a subtle but refreshed smile. Seol-Hwi knew one thing as he watched the man leave. Giving the Earth Demon the herb had earned Seol-Hwi his trust, even if there was no change in the status window. When he was alone again, Seol-Hwi pulled out the new sword. He wanted to see just how strong it was. Ah! He couldn't help but admire the blade as he drew it from its sheath. The sword was nearly perfectly sharp. He could feel demonic power in both sides of the blade. Its special power, perhaps. When Seol-Hwi lifted it up to the light, he could see that it was forged from a single huge ingot, not welded from smaller pieces of iron. If I use this for Wind God. There were other martial arts that went through his head, but he didn't care. The Wind God was the best he could use right now. It was the one he wanted to use the most. Seol-Hwi walked into the center of the yard and slowly raised his new sword. Ha! He moved quickly. It wasn't successful yet, as he wasn't fully aware of the sword. Ha! He swung his sword 9 times and then backed away. A strong sword wing swept forth, devouring everything in its path. In the blink of the eye, the vortex swelled, and so did the lightning. It blew a hole through the wall. Seol-Hwi gaped helplessly at the giant pit left in the ground. Now he knew what a 30% increase meant. After a good night's sleep, he stepped out the door. Take a mission, warrior training. Walk around. Seol-Hwi wanted to set his own schedule. Walk around. He was tired of carrying out missions, and he wanted to master the powerful weapon in his hands. Where would you like to go? The 4th disciple's home. Hyunwoo Garden? Captain's dorm moving to Hyunwoo Garden. Seol-Hwi stood in a spacious garden, along except for the lake view and the blooming flowers. Most people stuck to the entrance and exit of the garden, leaving the rest, such as where he stood now, untouched to allow people to rest. There's no one here, so no one can monitor them. Even if it took him months, he intended to properly master Wind God. Month 4, after endless work, he managed to increase the rate of success a little more. From time to time, he tried to use the skill inside the sword, but he never got anywhere. He just didn't know what conditions he had to meet to use it, so he just focused on his own training. By the end of the 4th month, he could successfully use Wind God 2 out of 10 times. Month 5, he trained the same movements, yet his success rate didn't increase. Even the slightest misplaced breath would cause the technique to fail. Without the ability to evaluate himself, Seol-Hwi felt like he was going nowhere. Still, he trained and managed to get to 3 successes out of 10 attempts. Don't give up. If he could use this skill, he could defeat any master. If he locked himself in place until he ground his way to success, would his opponents still stand tall? He still only had a success rate of 30%, but all he needed to do to raise it was put in more effort. His goal was 5 out of 10. He admitted it. It wouldn't make sense if the best skill was easy to learn, but it was something he could do with enough effort. Isn't it only natural to break through with training? Especially for him who'd experienced countless deaths. Going outside couldn't hurt. Right, what was with this bastard? This is crazy. Seol-Hwi got back to his room covered in sweat. Indeed, he'd spent several months training to use Wind God with nothing to show for it. The success rate didn't rise above 30%. What exactly is the problem? He grumbled as he sat down. The success rate was low, no matter how he thought about it. Seol-Hwi felt like he was losing it. I have no idea, so I'll leave that for later. He poured himself some water and went over to the bed to record the time. Oh, already? Where did the time go? Seol-Hwi didn't even realize that today was the last day. Naturally, he chose wander again. After a year, Seol-Hwi can choose a new schedule. Something different came out. Teaching new. Take a mission, warrior training. Walk around his eye immediately landed on the first option. Teaching, what did teaching mean? Curious, he selected it. Teach as vice captain, available. Perform the captain's duties, unavailable, vice captain. He recalled that the Earth Demon was going to appoint him as vice captain. Seol-Hwi got the title, but not the authority. He was asked to adapt to his posting first. Was today the day? Seol-Hwi's face paled as he was immediately presented with a familiar face. Oh, has the day finally come? His surroundings shifted to Hyukgu's office. I heard you completed the training course here. It's hard to believe how much you learned in just a year. Really, I think the 4th disciple got a bargain. Seol-Hwi didn't reply, but the captain continued regardless. Since you have all the right qualifications, I will take you as vice captain from today on, as I said. Let's lead the others well. The man gave him a serious look. For reference, all the leaders and people under the Earth Demon were hand-picked for excellence. It is your responsibility to bring them here and control them. If you can't do that, resign, okay? With that, Seol-Hwi's vision blurred. He hoped he'd be back in his room, but there was more to come. Do you want to save? Yes/no, this didn't appear unless something dangerous was going to happen. Shall we find out? Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 2-1, 3 choices from the Earth Demon. Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 3-1. Became a core warrior, 3 years of rapid growth, bonus story. Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 3-8, became a core warrior, year 1 of bonus story. The second one. The first time he got to set a schedule. That seemed like a safe pick. Actually, there wasn't a reason he had to save this moment, but he wanted to see what would happen. Saved. Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 2-1, 3 choices from the Earth Demon. Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 3-1. Became a core warrior, year 2 of bonus story. Year 95 of the Heavenly Calendar, Chapter 3-8. Became a core warrior, year 1 of bonus story. Second year, it says. Seol-Hwi turned around and tried to figure out what he was supposed to do, but just when he thought he was finally done, another message popped up, and this one was new. Episode. He had no idea what that meant. He didn't have a reason to refuse, however. He accepted and darkness swallowed him. Then it brightened. Part 1, Vice Captain of the Corps, the words faded away and unknown voices tickled his ear. Did you all hear that a new Vice Captain is coming? In the new brightness, something caught his eyes. Corps was previously translated as squad, but it's increasingly obvious that the hidden truth is much larger than just a squad. So now it's the hidden truth, Corps. Seol-Hwi is a vice captain, and Hyukgu is a captain. Did you all hear that a new vice captain is coming? The man was sprawled out on a chair. His sword was in his hand instead of on his waist, and he caressed it with a smile. Status summary, Yoram first member body. Normal master level health. 1.34 million internal energy, 1.27 million combat power, 2.85 million plus speculation description, oldest member of the command unit. Tall and slightly skinny, has an eye-catching fighting style, 2.85 million. He was as amazingly strong as Seol-Hwi would expect of a unit leader. Seol-Hwi had no idea what plus speculation meant, though. Continuing conversation. It seems like they found someone quickly this time, the man leaning against the wall with his arms crossed said. He had small eyes and an angular face with a firm, strong lower jaw. Status summary: Xianxia second member, body, normal master level health, 2.33 million internal energy, 1.27 million combat power, 3.1 million plus speculation description, 6th year in the Hidden Truth Corps. The oldest of those with the chance to become leaders. He has speculation, too. Hyok Guak, leader of the White Blood Troops, had the same note as this man. Seol-Hwi couldn't help but wonder what it was. I think this person might have been appointed since the vice-captain position was sitting open, the woman sitting on the window sill said. There were rumors that he and the Earth Demon are quite close. How do you know that? Yoram asked. It takes one to know one, she quietly replied. The light from the window shifted and her face seemed to glow in the new light. It was her. Was here, and she took Seol-Hwi's breath away just like she did the first time. Seo-Ryong fourth member, body, normal master level coin love plus 3 health, 360,000 internal energy, 1.22 million combat power, 1.12 million plus speculation, description, core member, a person specially selected by the Earth Demon. Seol-Hwi will gain 3 lives if he manages to make her fall in love with him. Love. Seol-Hwi's heart stopped again. Love meant gaining lives, so, what do I do? No, is this even possible? I don't need guidance or anything. If he's useful, I'll follow him. If not, I'll kill him. A man walked through the door, ferocious eyes peering through his long hair. Status summary: Yang Jin third member, body, normal health, 1.34 million internal energy, 1.27 million combat power, 2.77 million plus speculation description. The most hasty, hot-headed of the potential leaders. Despite his fiery personality, he possesses an inspiring honesty. He can only be brought down by force. I can feel it. If I want to control these people, I need to handle that one. Starting time began to tick once more. Seol-Hwi stood in front of the door where the group was gathered. He could roughly guess why he was here. The 4 leaders seemed hostile to the vice-captain. This was a test on how he would lead them. Cover his face? Why, it seemed like a pivotal decision. Because of Seo-Ryong, maybe. Seol-Hwi had a feeling that was it. He met her first on the test island, but then he died and met her in the library, and at that time he was a janitor. If he revealed his face now, she would certainly question what Seol-Hwi was doing in the library. That would mean losing all the goodwill she had for him. Seol-Hwi put the mask on and pushed open the door. What is going on? Seol-Hwi only made it a few steps in before the strange atmosphere halted him. It was quiet. No, they weren't moving at all. He'd never experienced time stopping for everyone except himself. What does this mean? Seol-Hwi took a moment to carefully observe all the frozen people. Yoram had his legs crossed. Seo-Ryong was still sitting by the window, and Yang Jin stood a few steps away from the open door. What? Everything was frozen, so how? Seol-Hwi tried approaching Yoram. I see. Seol-Hwi immediately agreed. He had to anyway if he wanted time to flow again. I didn't get a chance to properly learn martial arts after I joined the command unit. All I did was scout the outside territory. Doing chores like that makes the rest of the unit look down on me. I want to learn things like night vision and mountain scout. The commander is supposed to be teaching us martial arts. He's not doing anything right. Night vision made Seol-Hwi blink in surprise. Conveniently, it was a technique he knew, so they taught me it to help me build trust with these people. What about the others? He didn't hear anything else from Yoram, so he went to the next person. Xiang, who leaned against the wall. Seol-Hwi touched him and heard his inner feelings. I'm tired of these kinds of missions. I need something more exciting. Anything is fine, but I hope I get the chance to fight outsiders or go on a special mission. If I can, then my life. Xiang's desires felt quite strong. He didn't want to kill, but he wanted a mission where his life was on the line. It matched quite well with his appearance, in Seol-Hwi's opinion. Next, he went to the one with a dissatisfied expression, the one who spoke the most negatively before Seol-Hwi got here. Yang Jin. Dogshit. We always have to take charge of our old units. The new captain better have some guts. If he's another asshole, I'll kill him. Shit. If I'd gone to a different disciple, would I have to deal with this shit? Yang Jin's anger was palpable, although the others weren't exactly cheerful either. Now for the last one, the woman who took his breath away. She really was beautiful. It was hard to believe that such a woman existed in the sect. Seol-Hwi's heart pounded with each step he took. What could she be thinking? Did she distrust him like the rest of them? What do I gain from being in the command unit? It doesn't change anything. It was puzzling and unfamiliar, but that wasn't all of her thoughts. I need to find a way, or else the Supreme Pavilion Lord is going to kill us all within the year. The Supreme Pavilion Lord? Why was she worried about him? Did she do something bad? His doubts only grew. Does that one want to get out of this hell like I do? Who is she talking about? Seol-Hwi leaned closer, searching for the slightest clue. He wanted to know for whom her heart quivered, but the system had other ideas. Please return to your place. Seol-Hwi looked around and saw a table with a bright light on the ground next to it. He immediately realized that it would resume time. A continuing time flowed again. All the people turned to look at him, shooting uncomfortable and unpleasant gazes at him. No one spoke, weighing down the air with a heavy silence. Seol-Hwi decided to take the lead. You must know who I am. He had no intention of sympathizing with their feelings. Looking good. Didn't matter, they were stuck with each other for the time being. These people had been rejected before and had no other affiliation. Seol-Hwi had become familiar with such people in his last 10 years in the sect. I don't know who you are, however, and to be honest, I don't give a shit. Rude conduct, poor treatment, injustice, and inequality. They had seen this all too many times. No matter what you say, I don't plan on changing. He knew better than anyone how to educate them, or rather, he knew how to make them follow him. Those who want to follow can follow. Those who don't, stop here. Yang Jin cut him off. Who are you to say? I am not done speaking, Seol-Hwi said, cutting off Yang Jin in turn. Those who are not happy with my words. He scanned the room until his gaze landed on Yang Jin. Come at me. Cheeky bastards had to be crushed. That was the best way to make them obedient. If you can. Turn-based mode would show him a window whenever someone, enemy or not, discovered a weakness. It was a style that revolved around opportunity and crisis, but was inactive at all other times. So Seol-Hwi waited. Cheeky, Yang Jin, standing by the back door, rushed at him. Nothing he did was sufficient to trigger the system, however. The gap continued to close, 10 meters, 9 meters. Nothing from the system. I have to do it myself then. Seol-Hwi's hand dropped to his waist. A great opportunity, found a weakness in Yang Jin. How would you like to respond? There it was, however, it was not exactly what he was expecting. Seol-Hwi was trying to leave a gap for Yang Jin, not exploit one. Attack, use martial arts, use toolbox. Approach the opponent, the last option felt like the most appropriate for this situation. Yang Jin was coming at him head-on. The most effective move would be to his back, so east. The move was instant. Seol-Hwi quickly judged the distance between Yang Jin and himself and stretched his arms out. With a light gesture, Yang Jin fell to the ground. The three others stared at Yang Jin, flustered. Tusk, look at this. Seol-Hwi lightly brushed at his collar. Where did you get the confidence to ignore me? You must have thought you could say what you please because you have some skills. He touched his mask. I guess I must have looked simple. The atmosphere tensed immediately. Yoram's legs were no longer on the table, Jiak Xiang no longer leaned against the wall, and Seo-Ryong had left the window sill. Even Yang Jin had leapt off the ground. They didn't know it, but this was exactly what Seol-Hwi wanted. Combat mode, their combat power was in the millions. Dealing with all four at once was risky, but taking them out one at a time wouldn't leave as big of an impression on them. Seol-Hwi needed to provoke them into a situation where he could show off his best abilities, that being simulation. Time froze. An endless horde of shadows swept their gaze across the room. Their numbers decreased until there were only a few and then only one. The singular shadow began to move. Seol-Hwi watched eagerly, expecting it to do something amazing. 2 simple moves. That was it. He didn't know what 15 degrees meant, but it was easy to figure it out based on the slightly twisted slash the shadow pulled off. How is this the best option? He wondered. It didn't really make sense to him. Yoram was drawing his sword. Jiak Xiang already had his sword out and was taking a stance. Seo-Ryong was readying her throwing blades. On top of that, Yang Jin was coming at him from behind. He was supposed to handle them just by slashing and then straightening back up. Well, there has to be a reason for it. He trusted the simulation. It was, without a doubt, the key to his success so far in the hidden truth core. Seol-Hwi slashed his blade along the same path as the shadow, causing time to flow again. Then he took half a step to the left, just as the simulation did. And everything changed. The first slash deflected both of Seol-Hwi's thrown blades and somehow sent one at Xianxia and one at Yoram. Yoram had to drop into a crouch to avoid it, and Xianxia clutched his chest, trembling. Seol-Hwi's second move was a half step to the left and raising his sword to the middle. Yang Jin's attack never manifested. In fact, he'd frozen as soon as Seol-Hwi turned during his first move. Now he was confronted by Seol-Hwi's sword and the realization that Seol-Hwi had him figured out the whole time. "What, you don't look too good for someone who was about to try a back attack," Seol-Hwi derided him. "Or did you think you were just lucky?" Yang Jin's brow creased as he frowned. Seol-Hwi provocation must have dented his pride. "Are you blaming yourself for choosing the wrong path?" The four flinched. Seol-Hwi lowered his sword and looked at them calmly. "Again, I don't care what you people think. I don't care if you don't want my teachings. To be honest, I want to be done with this useless shit as quickly as possible and go home." He turned around, locking eyes with the still frozen Yang Jin. "Still, I have to pretend to teach you. Don't come here tomorrow unless you want to learn." He was being completely honest. Seol-Hwi didn't care about leading them or otherwise dealing with them. Even if he became insanely strong, he'd never be able to shake the feeling that he was wasting time he could be spending on training. With that in mind, his eyes were already on the door. There was no class today, but he didn't expect this. It had certainly never happened before. First member Yoram, 10/100 favorability. Second member Xianxia, 10/100 favorability. Third member Yang Jin, 10/100 favorability. Fourth member Seol-Hwi, 10/100 favorability. If possible, he needed to raise those numbers. Seol-Hwi went back to his room early. He immediately sat down and pulled off his mask. "What kind of pict?" The mask has a tiger on it. It was so ridiculous it made him want to laugh. He set it down on the table and stared up at the ceiling. "Another crisis will come." Seol-Hwi knew that life was never smooth sailing. Although this curse of his let him turn any crisis into an opportunity, even as it drove him into another crisis. In this situation, Seol-Hwi knew what to do. "I need to get them on my side as fast as possible." He had to finish his tasks quickly, just like on the test island and the library. If he wasn't ready, he'd miss any unexpected chances that came his way, and his chances of survival were nil. Seol-Hwi got up from the chair. "Let's check again." Status: Seol-Hwi Vice Captain of the Hidden Truth Core. Health: 710,000 internal energy, 1.21 million coins, 2 Grandmaster level combat power, 5.91 million 2 lives and good abilities. Seol-Hwi was not confident about his combat power. He always had to deal with tough enemies, so he really wasn't sure how strong he was. "What about the toolbox?" Toolbox: Golden Potion X3 Full Body Quick Recovery Pill Zone Marshall Island Map, Sect Leader's Secret Office Map, 2/4 Secret Office. Seol-Hwi realized he had another thing to do. He didn't know what all might be in the sect leader's secret stash, but the best martial arts definitely were. "I need to practice." An unfamiliar feeling arose in him. He wanted to go into the field and take a mission. Not necessarily a dangerous one, but there was the chance that he could find some unexpected rewards. "I can't, for now." He'd lost 2 lives on Hong's mission, after all. And Seol-Hwi set his sword on the table. The Sword of Reverence, his new, elaborately engraved weapon. It was like nothing he'd ever seen before. The only reason he'd been able to deflect Seol-Hwi's blade was this sword. "What is soul-chasing chi?" Soul-chasing chi, sealed curse. Examining the sword made Seol-Hwi more curious. If he was interpreting it right, it was something that chased his opponent. "I have a lot of work to do." Seol-Hwi went outside. The first day would never be easy. If he had a chance to get stronger, he wouldn't miss it. "I need to find a way, or else the Supreme Pavilion Lord is going to kill us all within the year." He had a feeling Seol-Hwi's words would be important in the future.